Hey guys, my name is Michi and that is Mad About Michi on IG, and I am back with another video. So today guys, I'm going to be doing a full head of tape ends. And if you are not familiar with tape ends, it's literally hair that is going to be taped in my client's head. And today the texture I am using, this is called the Vietnamese Raw Straight by Posh Collection. And I'm going to try to do 2.5 bundles in her hair. So her hair right now is about maybe a 14-inch, maybe longer, but we're gonna take her to a 22-inch. So what I like to do prior to putting the tape ends in my client's head is to prep it. So as you can see, one side is non-sticky. The other side has a protective layer, which is covering up the tape. So I just like to take that off prior to starting the tape ends so I can do it much faster. So what I'm gonna actually do is go in and silken her hair out so it'll match the tape ends, and I'm going to be using all Posh Collection products when I do this. So you don't wanna put too much oil in the hair, especially on the scalp, because you wanna make sure the tape ends stick. So I'm just gonna use this Rise and Shine by Posh Collection, which is really lightweight. It's a serum. I'm just gonna use a drop, maybe a dime size, and just rub it on the ends of her hair to help straighten her hair out. So you don't have to press the hair out super straight. One pass is enough. You just want to make sure you get the root of the hair straight. So I just finished pressing out her hair, and again, I only went through it with one pass. I got the root nice and straight, but I know I have to go back through it again once I put the tape ends in her hair, so I didn't want to put too much heat on it. And now we're going to start the tape end process. So I did a consultation with my client, and I just, wanted to see what style she wants to wear it in. We're gonna go with a middle part. So you wanna make sure before you start applying the tape ends that you ask your client how they plan on wearing the hair, because the track placement is very important to make sure that the hair lays flat. So once you start your tape end process, you want to part the hair off, leaving out enough hair to cover up your first row. So I'm just gonna go in lightly and part her hair off. And the way I like to check to see if I have enough hair left out is by taking my metal tooth comb. And if I could see the comb, as you can see, if I can see the comb, then that means I'm going to be able to see the tape. So I'm gonna part off more hair. And this just depends on how fine or full and thick your client's hair is. So each person is going to be different. So I'm gonna go back in. And the tape ends are black, so it's not like it's gonna be silver like the comb, but this just gives me a good idea of how far up I need to go. So I'm going to start her tape ends maybe about an inch, inch and a half away from her nape line. So the protective layer is still on, so I'm not actually taping it, I'm just testing it out just to make sure I left enough hair out. So make sure once you start your tape ends, when you're on the first row, just take your time and make sure you leave enough hair out, because that row is the most important because it's near the hairline. And when they pull it up in a ponytail, you want to make sure you do not see the tape ends. So I'm about to start my tape in process, but as you can see, she has like little broken pieces off in her hair. So what I'm gonna do is use the Posh Collection Tease Me, which is a light holding spray. I'm gonna lightly spray the hair near the root just to tame that hair, so when I stick her tape ends on, her hair is not tangled underneath the tape ends. So everyone does their tape ends differently, so I'm just going to show you guys how I do mine. Some people will part the hair off and then tape the tape underneath the hair and go on top of it. But what I'm going to do, which is easy for me, is I'm just going to go on top of the hair first. Now you don't want to go right up against their scalp because you're not going to have that flexibility. So you want to make sure you stay a little bit away from the scalp. Put the tape on. You want to smash it down. Then you want to lift the tape, and whatever hair is stuck to the tape, you want to take that with the tape. You don't have to try to force too much hair in it. You only need a small amount of hair in the tape. And then what I do is go on top of it, making sure the tapes are lined up. And then you just put pressure on that tape to make sure it sticks together. So now you can see it has flexibility, so she can pull it up in a ponytail. And this is how your first row will look. So the closer you lay the tapes, the more fullness you're gonna get. If you don't want a lot of fullness, just put space in between the tapes. But I want hers to be nice and full, so I'm putting them close together, but not touching. Okay, so now I'm going to start my second row, and as you can see, I'm leaving out more hair because of the edges, and I want to make sure I have full coverage. So I'm still going to do a tester just to make sure I'm covering it up. And I want it nice and full, so I'm not leaving like any hair in between each tape. I'm literally just going in and starting the next row. And you always want to check when you're parting to make sure you have symmetry if you're doing a middle part. So I'm making sure I have the same amount of hair left out on each side. So when I do my part now, I'm going to clip this hair so it's not in the way. But then I'm also going to clip out her edges because you don't want to take the tape all the way to her edge. So once you put the tape in, you want to make sure you're able to cover it up in both directions, from the hairline, the front hairline, and the hairline above the ear. So we're going to part this off, and we're not going to take the tape that far towards her hairline. Again, your holding spray is just to tame the hair while you install the tapes. Okay, so now we have a little section where we're not going to be able to get a full tape in. So what you want to do is grab 2 of your tape ends, hold them together. So you're going to hold them together, and then you're going to measure approximately how long you need it. And then you're just going to cut the additional tape end off. And you want to make sure your cut ends match up when you tape it together. So this is the cut end. And then this is your cut end. And you're going to match it up. Just to make sure your tape ends are stuck together perfectly. So this is your first 2 rows. And the goal is to get about 2.5 bundles in her hair. So you don't have to keep the same formation throughout the tape ends. You just want to make sure you're making the best placement for the style. So I'm going to start my next row with just a short curve, and I'm just going to go in on each row until I have to go all the way around again. When you're doing your tape end placement, you want to be careful once you get in the crown of the head. You don't really want to place tape ends in this area because this hair goes in so many different directions to cover up the tape ends. So once I do a couple of rows in the back, I'm going to focus more on the sides and keep this area clean. Okay, as you can see her line of demarcation to where her natural hair stops. So I'm going to keep going further, adding more tape ends. And again, we're doing a center part. So I'm just putting the tape ends in evenly on both sides. So now I'm getting close to the top, so I'm just parting off the teardrop section that's going to be her leave out, so I can do my final row and make sure I have enough hair to cover up the tape ends. So as you guys can see, her line of demarcation is still there slightly. It's not as thick as it was. I took her last row of tape ends about here. So what I'm gonna do now is actually go in and put some layers in her hair to blend it out even more, and that'll add additional fullness. We put exactly 2.5 bundles of tape ends in her hair, which made it really full. And as you can see, she's able to wear it in a high ponytail if she likes, or a bun, and it'll be nice and flat. So I'm gonna do the trim at the layers, and then we're gonna style her. So now I'm going to use the wax stick, and this is by Posh Collection, and this is just going to get rid of these little frizzies that are standing up. You don't need a lot. Okay guys, so this is our finished look of the tape-in installation. Again, we used about 2.5 bundles of hair, which is about 100 tapes. 100 tapes equals 50 sandwiches. So when you put one tape on top of the other, that's called a sandwich. So we have about 50 sandwiches in her head. We use the Vietnamese raw straight hair by Posh Collection, and you can get that at iloveposhcollection.com, along with the other products that I use, the Tease Me holding spray, the wax stick, and we also use the Rise and Shine. So all these products you can get at iloveposhcollection.com. As you can see, she doesn't have any buildup in her hair. She doesn't have any flakes, and her tape ends look amazing. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. For more videos, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mad About Meechie, as well as my IG page, Mad About Meechie. So if you're interested in more information on how to do a tape-in installation, I am available for one-on-one courses. I'll be sure to leave the information in the description section on how to book that class.